Dillon Gabriel walked off the field a winner, but barely. The scoreboard said victory, but anyone who watched saw a quarterback outmatched, outpaced, and out of sync, under constant pressure. Gabriel was sacked repeatedly and failed to deliver when the team needed him to extend drives or shift momentum. The Browns may have taken down the Dolphins, but it was Judkins, not Gabriel, who dominated. With 3 touchdowns and a bruising ground performance, Judkins didn't just carry the ball. He carried the entire offense. And through it all, fans couldn't help but wonder, if Shedeur Sanders had been under center, how much more dangerous could this team have been? There's a growing disconnect between what the Browns show on the field.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
And what their fans are begging for. The offensive line is holding up just enough. The defense is playing championship-level ball, and the run game is elite. But quarterback play remains the one glaring weakness. Gabriel might have Stefanski's trust. But if things don't change, that trust could cost him everything. The Cleveland Browns won the game, but fans walked away furious. Because behind that final score was a brutal reality. The quarterback play was a disaster, and everyone saw it, except, apparently, the coaching staff. Dillon Gabriel turned in what might be his worst performance to date. Under constant pressure, sacked multiple times, rattled, hesitant, and ultimately ineffective. There was no spark, no control, no sign that he could lead this offense with any kind of authority. And while the Browns technically secured a win, the truth is it had nothing to do with Gabriel. That one belonged to Sean Judkins. 3 touchdowns. Relentless yardage. The only reason the offense functioned at all was because Judkins took over and refused to let this game slip. He was the only bright light in an otherwise dim offensive showing. And once again, he carried this team on his back, while the quarterback spot continued to weigh them down. It wasn't just a bad game. It was the latest in a series of warning signs. Gabriel's performances aren't just inconsistent, they're consistently underwhelming. He hasn't been able to find rhythm, and the offensive scheme clearly doesn't trust him to stretch the field. Every play feels like it's designed to protect him, not unleash the offense. And that's exactly what fans are tired of seeing. Across social media, the sentiment has been building, but after the Dolphins game, it exploded. The name on everyone's lips, Shedeur Sanders. Calm, composed, confident, the kind of quarterback who doesn't just avoid disaster. He creates opportunities. And right now, the Browns need that more than ever. Fans aren't calling for Sanders just because they're frustrated. They're calling for him because they know this team is better than this. The defense is too good. The run game is too dominant. The roster is too talented to be held hostage by one position. And yet, here we are, stuck in neutral, because Stefanski refuses to make the switch. And that refusal is starting to cause real damage. Let's get one thing straight. This isn't personal. No one's questioning Gabriel's effort. No one's denying that he's tough or works hard. But in the NFL, work ethic only matters if it translates to results on the field. And right now it isn't. What's translating is fear. Fear to throw under pressure. Fear to push the ball. Fear to lead. That's not leadership. That's survival. And you can't build a winning team around survival mode. Stefanski's defense of Gabriel isn't just frustrating. It's tone deaf. While the fan base is begging for a change, while the offense continues to stagnate, the head coach is talking about effort and toughness like that's enough. But the numbers say otherwise. The tape says otherwise. And the fans? They're over it. They want a quarterback who can make plays, not just avoid disaster. They want someone who can read defenses, extend drives, and give this team a real shot at maximizing its strengths. They're not asking for a miracle. They're asking for a chance. A chance to see what Sanders could do with this offense. A chance to run a full playbook. A chance to actually compete, not just coast. What's holding the Browns back isn't talent. It's indecision. It's loyalty to a quarterback who hasn't earned it. And that loyalty is starting to look like stubbornness. Stubbornness that could cost the Browns the season. This is where leadership gets tested. Not in post-game pressers or behind-the-scenes praise, but in the decisions that actually affect the scoreboard. Right now, The Browns have a coach who's refusing to adapt, and a fan base that's done waiting for him to wake up. Because let's be honest, the gap between what fans want and what management is doing has never been wider. The push for Sanders isn't just noise. It's a clear signal. The people who live and breathe this team can see what's happening. And they're not wrong. The offense has no identity. It's built entirely around Judkins, and while that's working for now, it's not a long-term solution. Defenses will adjust. The moment someone slows down the run game, the Browns will be exposed, unless they have a quarterback who can respond. Gabriel hasn't shown that he can. Sanders, on the other hand, hasn't even been given a chance. That disconnect is growing by the week, and it's not just frustrating, it's dangerous, because it doesn't just affect the games. It affects the locker room. Players see who's performing. They know who's holding things together and who's falling apart. And when effort and results stop aligning, people start to lose trust. Trust in the system. Trust in the staff. Trust in the vision. The Browns are at that tipping point. This isn't a rebuild. This isn't a team tanking for draft picks. This is a team with playoff potential being dragged down by one position, and a coach who refuses to acknowledge it. And every game they keep rolling out Gabriel. Every game they waste Judkins' effort. Every game the defense has to play perfect football just to keep the score close. It's a missed opportunity. It's a message to the players and the fans that nothing is changing. That's why people are angry. Because they care. Because they've seen what this team could be. And they're watching that potential get wasted week after week. The play calling isn't bold. The offense isn't creative. It's reactive. And that's what happens when you're trying to protect a quarterback instead of empowering one. You shrink the field. You settle for short gains. You pray the defense bails you out. And when they do, you call it a win. But everyone knows it's not sustainable. This game against the Dolphins didn't prove the Browns are contenders. It proved they're barely holding things together. Judkins saved the day. The defense did its job. But Gabriel, he was invisible. Again, at some point, being invisible becomes a liability. The team needs more. The players need more. The fans deserve more. The season isn't over. The division is still within reach. But only if the Browns stop pretending this is fine. Only if they stop playing it safe and start playing to win. And that starts at quarterback. If Stefanski is serious about competing, if he wants to restore trust and re-energize his fan base, there's only one move left to make. Start Sanders. Give this offense a chance to breathe. Give the team a chance to grow. Give the season a chance to mean something. This isn't about sending a message. It's about fixing what's broken. Because right now, the Browns are winning games but losing faith. And if that trend continues, it won't matter what the standings say. The story will already be written. So where do you stand? Has the coaching staff waited too long? Should Sanders be the guy right now? Or is there still hope that Gabriel turns around, despite all the signs saying otherwise? Let us know in the comments. Like if you're tired of the excuses. Share this with someone who's been saying what we're all thinking. And hit subscribe if you want to stay locked in as this quarterback controversy continues to unfold. Because if things don't change soon, this season's going to be remembered for what could have been, not what it was. The win against the Dolphins should have been a celebration. A hard-fought battle. A statement game. But instead, it felt like a gut punch wrapped in a box score. Because everyone knows what that win really cost. Credibility. Every week that Dillon Gabriel takes the field as QB1, the faith in this coaching staff erodes just a little more. Let's not pretend this is complicated. The Browns have built a team that can compete now. The defense is playoff caliber. The run game, thanks to Judkins, is borderline elite. The pieces are in place. But the quarterback? He's playing like he's on a different timeline. A rebuilding team timeline. Give a few years timeline. And this team doesn't have years. Not with this defense. Not with this momentum. Not with this window. And yet, every week, we're asked to watch Gabriel get another chance. Another excuse. Another opportunity to underwhelm. And every week, fans are left asking the same question. Why? Why is the bar for quarterback play so low? Why are other underperforming players held accountable, benched, or rotated out, but not the quarterback? Why does he works hard matter more than he performs well? That disconnect is breaking the trust between the team and the fans, because what they're seeing on the field and what they're hearing in press conferences aren't lining up. And nothing frustrates a fan base faster than being gaslit by the coaching staff. It's one thing to lose a game. It's another to lose credibility. This fan base knows football. They've sat through dark years. They've endured rebuilds, bad drafts, worse contracts, and rotating coaches. But this year was supposed to be different. This year, the team was ready. The defense came to play. The offense had weapons. And they finally had a reason to believe that this could be the season they actually make noise. And now, week after week, they're watching that belief die, not because the team is bad, but because the team is being held back. And it's not even subtle. There's no identity to the passing game. No spark. No progression. Gabriel is managing the offense like it's his job to not mess up instead of win games. And when you have a quarterback that plays scared, the rest of the offense shrinks with him. The playbook tightens. The receivers disengage. The line hesitates. The rhythm dies. It's death by hesitation. And it's happening in slow motion. The most damning thing about Gabriel's performance against the Dolphins wasn't just the sacks or the misreads. It was how little anyone expected anything different. That's where the bar is now. So low that fans are shocked when he completes a third down pass. So used to the stalling drives that they're celebrating field goals like touchdowns. That's not normal. That's not okay. That's not sustainable. What's worse, the longer this goes on, the more it feels like Shedeur Sanders is being wasted. Not just his talent, but his potential. Every game he doesn't play is another missed opportunity for growth. For reps, for chemistry. And for what? To keep protecting a quarterback who clearly isn't ready for this moment? Because that's what this is really about. Moments. Big games. Big decisions. Big throws under pressure. That's where quarterbacks earn their stripes. And Gabriel? He disappears when the game gets heavy. When the defense tightens up. When it's time to make something happen. You don't feel like something's about to happen. You feel like something's about to fall apart. That's not leadership. That's instability. And let's talk about leadership for a second. Leadership isn't just about being the guy who shows up early and studies the playbook. That's expected. That's standard. Leadership is about presence, influence, making your teammates believe you're going to get it done, no matter what. And right now, the team doesn't look like it believes in Gabriel. They look like they're dealing with Gabriel. You can't hide that energy. You can't scheme around it. The players know. The fans know. The only people still acting like this is fine are wearing headsets and dodging questions in post-game interviews. Meanwhile, Sanders waits. Every week that passes, the calls get louder. The fans are organized, passionate, and relentless. They're not just frustrated, they're invested because they care. They see the same problems, the same missed opportunities, the same almost plays. They want to believe this team is serious about winning. But the message they're getting? We're fine with mediocrity, as long as it's our guy. And that's where it starts to feel personal. Because fans aren't asking for perfection. They're asking for effort to be matched with results. For performance to matter more than politics. For coaching decisions to be based on what's happening now, not what was promised in training camp. You think Judkins would still be starting if he averaged 1.7 yards per carry for 4 straight games? You think anyone else on the roster would get this kind of leash? Of course not. And that's the issue. The double standard is obvious. And it's costing the Browns more than just games. It's costing the momentum. Because this team isn't built to squeak by. They're built to compete. But you can't do that when your quarterback position is a weekly liability. And yes, maybe Sanders isn't perfect. Maybe he'll make mistakes. But that's not the point. The point is that the offense needs life. It needs movement. It needs hope. Right now, all it has is damage control. How many more weeks of this does Stefanski need? How many more games where the defense hold the line? Judkins puts up a career day, and Gabriel walks off the field with fewer completions and rushing attempts. At what point do you stop playing not to lose and start playing to win? Because this isn't going away. Not when the team is this good. Not when the fans are this loud. Not when the alternative is this obvious. Every week without a change is a vote against your own team's potential. Start Sanders. Not next month. Not if things get worse. Now, let him grow with this offense. Let him make mistakes. Let him find rhythm. Let him show us what he can do, while there's still time to do it. Because if you wait too long, it won't matter. The window will close. The fans will check out. And the story of this season won't be about a team that came up short. It'll be about a team that refused to change until it was too late. So where do you stand? Do you still believe in Gabriel? Or are you ready to see what Sanders can do? Let's be clear, this is drama now. We're not just talking about a quarterback playing below expectations. We're talking about a full-blown identity crisis. Because every team builds around something. Some teams build around star receivers. Some build around a shutdown defense. Some ride a hot quarterback and go as far as he can take them. But the Browns? Right now, they're building around mistake. A miscalculation. A quarterback who, no matter how many games he starts, doesn't seem to be getting better, just better hidden. They become a team built on excuses. We're winning, aren't we? He's still adjusting. He's tough. No one's denying the toughness. No one's denying the work ethic. But there comes a point when you stop grading on effort and start grading on execution. This team didn't need a hero under center. It needed a contributor. And Gabriel, in game after game, has failed to even contribute. He's not controlling games. He's surviving them. He's not pushing the offense forward. He's dragging it behind the defense in Judkins, who, let's be real, looks like the only guy out there who could win you a playoff game right now. And that's what makes this whole thing so maddening. Because while the coaching staff continues to publicly support Gabriel, they're doing so at the expense of everyone else. They're putting their belief in one player above the trajectory of the team, and the results speak for themselves. How many times do you watch your quarterback get swallowed up on 3rd and long, only for the defense to bail him out 2 plays later, before you start to realize what's happening? This team is winning with duct tape and wishful thinking. And the people paying the price aren't in the front office. They're in the huddle and in the stands. Because let's not forget the people who've been riding this out the hardest. The fans. They've been patient. They've been fair. And now they're being loud. This isn't a spoiled fan base throwing a tantrum. This is a loyal one, sick of being insulted by decisions that make no sense. Every week, they tune in. Every week, they get their hopes up. Every week, they wait for something, anything, to change. But nothing does. It's like watching a slow-motion train wreck with a perfectly good conductor waiting in the next car, and no one willing to hand him the keys. And that's exactly what Sanders is. He's not just a hypothetical. He's not just some raw rookie with potential. He's a real option. A quarterback who has a poised presence and upside that this offense desperately needs. And yet, he's being treated like an emergency plan, only to be used when the situation is completely unsalvageable. Well, newsflash, we're almost there. This isn't early season turbulence. We're not testing the waters anymore. We've seen what Gabriel looks like under pressure. We've seen what happens when teams dare him to beat them through the air. And we've seen the offense shrink in response. You can't keep waiting for a breakthrough that never comes. And here's the thing. If the Browns don't make a change soon, they're not just jeopardizing the season. They're jeopardizing everything they've built. Because players talk. Veterans want to win. Young guys want to develop. And everyone wants to feel like they're playing for something. If they sense the coaching staff is more interested in protecting one player than in doing what's best for the team, that's a problem. That's how you lose a locker room. And when the locker room goes, that's it. So Stefanski has a decision to make. And no, it's not an easy one. Pulling your starting quarterback midseason, especially one you publicly defended, is tough. But tough is part of the job. If you can't make uncomfortable decisions, you're not leading. You're just hoping. And right now, this team doesn't need hope. It needs a spark. It needs someone who can own the offense. Someone who can keep defenses honest. Someone who doesn't need the defense to be perfect or Judkins to score 3 touchdowns just to keep things competitive. Someone like Sanders. Let's be real. The fans aren't asking for perfection. They're not asking for instant wins. They just want a chance to see what this team looks like with a quarterback who isn't constantly looking over his shoulder, bracing for the next sack, or panicking in the pocket. They want energy. They want rhythm. They want movement. And what they're getting instead is a weekly reminder of what this team could be if the coaching staff stopped being afraid of their own depth chart. We've reached a point where doing nothing is worse than taking a risk. If Sanders comes in and struggles, at least you know. At least you're honest about where the team stands. But if you don't try, if you keep running Gabriel out there, praying he suddenly becomes the quarterback you hope for in July, you're not leading. You're delaying the inevitable. And you're sending a message, loud and clear, to your locker room, your fan base, and your franchise, that this is good enough. But it's not. It's not good enough for a team this talented. It's not good enough for players laying their bodies on the line every week. It's not good enough for fans who've stuck with this team through worse. And it's definitely not good enough for a season that still has meaning if you act fast. So here's the bottom line. Change is coming. One way or another. Either the Browns take control of this narrative, pivot, and see what Sanders can do, or they let this season slip through their fingers while defending a quarterback who can't carry the weight. And when it's over, no one's going to remember how hard Gabriel worked in practice. They're going to remember how long it took the team to face the facts. So what do you think? Has Gabriel earned another start? Or has this gone on long enough? Is Sanders the spark this offense needs? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if you're done watching an offense that looks scared to throw the ball. Share this with your group chat of fans who've been saying the same thing since week 3. And subscribe if you're ready for whatever chaos comes next. Because whether Stefanski makes the switch or not, this quarterback saga is far from over.